Hey wrestling fans, my name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka what kind of snacks you want, because I got plenty going around. As you can tell by the title of the thumbnail in the video, this is my AEW Dynamite review and highlights. So if you got some news to the channel, make sure you guys please watch the entire video from all the way from the beginning or towards the end. Give this video 30 likes, follow all of my social media down below in the description, and go check out my WWE NXT review and highlights, and also go check out my WWE Raw review and highlights that I did on the channel. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, AEW Dynamite was a good show for what it was, and I give this show a 7 out of 10. AEW Dynamite was live from San Jose, California. It is wrestling. I'm sorry, it is Wednesday, my dudes. You know what that means. Commentary hypes up the card for tonight as we head to ringside for our. The commentary hypes up the card for tonight as we head to ringside for our opening match. Out first are the Death Riders making their way into the Civic Center and through the crowd to a nice pop. Hex and Zero makes his entrance next, followed by Kanuska Takeshita to another nice pop from the crowd. As we take a look back to AEW Collision on Saturday and the brawl between the Death Riders and the Don Callis family. Takeshita enters the ring and we get this match on the way. So we get the first match. So we get the Death Riders, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus the Don Callis family, Kanuska, Takeshita, and Hex and Zero. This is a good tag team match to kick off the show. We start off with AEW chants as Claudio and Hex and Zero kick things off with the Luchador taking the C-Mill champion to the mat. Claudio Castagnoli goes back after him, and this leads to an exchange of holds between the two. Hex and Zero managed to break free of a wrist lock, mocking Claudio before taking him down with a shoulder tackle for a 42 count. Claudio is back on his feet, taking the fight back to Hex and Zero as he blocks a drop kick to keep him down for a near fall of his own. Hex and Zero is back on the attack until Jon Moxley gets the tag, but there is a bit of pause as Hex and Zero backs away. Eventually, we get Jon Moxley and Takeshita as the legal man in the ring, staring each other down before hitting the ropes to see who can knock the other down with a shoulder tackle. Despite a defense middle finger to the Alpha, is Takeshita who wins this exchange. But Jon Moxley fights back to his feet for a tag to Castagnoli. Claudio takes a leg lariat from Takeshita, who tags in Hex and Zero, and Jon Moxley comes in for a double team, but it's fanned off by Hex and Zero, who connects with their modified head scissors on Castagnoli for a near fall. Claudio retreats to the outside as we go to commercial break. Back from the break, Claudio is in control, even as Hex and Zero lands a couple chops. Castagnoli drops the luchador, looking for a giant swing, but Hex and Zero gets to the ropes, using the leverage to catapult him in the outside. Hex and Zero gets caught by Jon Moxley off a tag, but managed to get the tag to Kanuska Takeshita, who takes Jon Moxley off his feet with a hurricanrana from the most dangerous rope. Jon Moxley is back in the ring. After that, but a sleeper is countered into a blue thunderbomb for a 2 count from Takeshita. Exchange of strikes leads to a big boot from Jon Moxley and a forearm from Takeshita, who hits the ropes and runs into an uppercut by Claudio. Castagnoli takes Hex and Zero off the apron as Jon Moxley goes for a crossface, only for the Alpha to counter just enough to get to the ropes for the break. Jon Moxley looks for a gotch-style piledriver, but Takeshita breaks free to land a knee strike. Both men are down until they can make the tags to Hex and Zero, but Hex and Zero lands a spine buster on Claudio before targeting the arm and neck of the C-Mill champion, who scrambles to the corner before dodging a knee strike from the luchador. Claudio gets the drop on Hex and Zero, sending him to the floor before setting up for a running uppercut. He brings Hex and Zero back into the ring for a crossbody, but the luchador twists Claudio Castagnoli around into a pin combination for a near fall that's broken up by Jon Moxley. This gives Claudio the opening for a giant swing, but it's slightly smaller this time around, and that makes for just a near fall. Hex and Zero takes an uppercut in the corner, but fights back with a knee strike, lifting Claudio up to drop him for a leg drop and a 2 count. Both men to their feet now as Claudio sends Hex and Zero to the corner, narrowly avoiding crashing into the referee. This gives Castagnoli the opening for the thumb to the eye and a tight, small package for the win. The winner of the match, the Death Riders, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. This was a good tag team match to kick off the show. The celebration is short-lived as Lance Archer runs into the ring, followed by the rest of the Don Callis family as they go after both men in the ring. Maria Shafir comes into the ring and is laid out by Lance Archer as Kanushka Takeshita is handed a steel chair, but he refused to use it, dropping the chair instead. This gets the rest of the Don Callis family riled up until Don Callis tries to defuse the situation. Everyone but Takeshita leaves the ring, with the Alpha letting Jon Moxley know he wants the title on Sunday before leaving the ring himself. Backstage, we hear from Willow Nightingale and Per Stefan. They set to face each other for Willow's TBS title later tonight, and they have a friendly chat about who hit harder and beating Mercedes Moné for their respective titles, and wishes each other luck in the match before walking off. We get a look at what's to come tonight, with Kyle Fletcher defending the TNT title against Speedball Mike Bailey up next. So we go to commercial break. We head backstage where Don Callis hypes up Kyle Fletcher until MJF interrupts. He asks Kyle Fletcher to do him a favor and beat up Mike Bailey, but Kyle Fletcher doesn't take kindly to this as he tells the world champion he's going to beat Mike Bailey up for himself. MJF tells Don Callis he better teach his boys how to speak to the world champion before walking off. As Kyle Fletcher tells Don Callis he hopes Don Callis isn't working for MJF. Don Callis assures him that isn't the case as AEW Dynamite rolls on. Alright. Back at ringside, Speedball Mike Bailey makes his entrance as he gets ready to challenge for the TNT Championship. Out next is the champ. It's the champ himself as Kyle Fletcher makes his way out to a nice pop. The champ enters the ring and this match gets underway. So we get the TNT Championship match. Kyle Fletcher defense against Mike Bailey. This was the match of the night until the Don Callis have ruined it. Good match, but the ending the Don Callis family ruined it. And I am so sick and tired of the Don Callis family every Wednesday. That's all I gotta say. This was the match of the night right here. Bailey catches the champ by surprise with a fury of offense, leading to an armbar that forced Kyle Fletcher to scramble to the ropes for the break. He leaves the ring for a breather before catching Mike Bailey with a kick. He looks to send Speedball into the ring steps, but Bailey shoves him instead and sets up for another armbar as the referee counts continues. Mike Bailey and Kyle Fletcher get into the ring as Speedball lands a kick only to be taken down with a scoop slam by the champ. Bailey gets to the corner before stopped on by Kyle Fletcher, who pulls him out of the corner into a backbreaker side suplex, garners for a near fall for the champ. Bailey starts to fight back from the corner, but Kyle Fletcher countered a right slot before hitting the ropes and taking a hurricanrana by Mike Bailey. A series of kicks takes the champ to the match as Bailey lands a standing star press for 2. Kyle Fletcher fights back to Mike Bailey to the mat, and the champ heads to the corner looking for a big boot. The two land kicks on each other before taking each other to the canvas. Kyle Fletcher is on the apron as Mike Bailey comes running in, but the champ catches him before Bailey counters into a poison runner that sends Kyle Fletcher to the floor as we go to commercial break. Back from the break, we see Kyle Fletcher in control with a kick on the challenger, but Mike Bailey fights back to send the champ to the outside. Bailey stares Don Callis down for looking to bring Kyle Fletcher back into the ring, but Kyle Fletcher turns it around before checking on Don Callis. This allows Mike Bailey to land a target moonsault as we find out 10 minutes have elapsed for the halfway point on the time limit. Mike Bailey stays on the attack, both in and out of the ring to a big speedball chant until Kyle Fletcher counters to send Mike Bailey face first into the top turnbuckle. Kyle Fletcher lands some mounted punches on the challenger before heading to the corner for a running boot. Mike Bailey fights out of a brainbuster attempt for a sleeper hold, taking the champ to the mat before locking in an armbar. He gets Kyle Fletcher onto his shoulders, which leads to a 2 count. And Bailey goes right back to an armbar. Kyle Fletcher used his strength to hold Speedball up for a powerbomb, forcing Mike Bailey to finally break the hold. He, an exhausted Speedball, rolls out of the ring amidst a fight forever chant, but Kyle Fletcher fights him out as he looks for a power driver. Mike Bailey counters out, setting the champ up for a backflip double stomp. He brings Kyle Fletcher back into the ring as we hear a count of 8 from the referee, but the count is broken as Kyle Fletcher kicks Mike Bailey away. 5 minute warning as the two fight it out in the corner, and Mike Bailey fights off a brainbuster before landing a hard kick on the champ. This is followed by another kick from Mike Bailey and lands a poison runner that sends Kyle Fletcher to the mat, and Kyle Fletcher is back up, but not for long as Kyle Fletcher walks into a roundhouse kick by the challenger Mike Bailey with the cover, but Kyle Fletcher narrowly gets his shoulders up. Mike Bailey follows up with another period of offense, but walks into a Mochoku driver by the champ, and who only gets a 2 count. Mike Bailey managed to fight back for another near fall before sending Kyle Fletcher down by the champ, dodging ultimate weapon for a near fall. The two continue to trade near falls here before Mike Bailey sends Kyle Fletcher into the corner as we see Okada hop onto the apron with a screwdriver. The referee intervenes as we see Mark Davis hands the title to Kyle Fletcher, who used the distraction to lay out Mike Bailey before landing a sheer drop brainbuster for the win. The winner of the match and still your TNT champion, Kyle Fletcher. This was a match of the night between Mike Bailey and Kyle Fletcher. Alright, but the ending, they just ruined it. But it is what it is. Kyle Fletcher celebrates the not-so-clean victory as we go to commercial break. So, we go to commercial break. We head back to ringside for a standby match as Brody King makes his way out to a big pop from the crowd. Instant promo from Brody King, and he addresses looking for Swerve Strickland, and his opponent is in the ring as we get this match underway. Alright, so we get Brody King versus local talent, squash match for what it was. The opponent tries to take advantage of Brody King's still looking for swerve, but is quickly disposed of Brody King, who gets the win off a game so bomb. Alright, the winner by pinfall, Brody King. This was a squash match for what it was. Brody King starts to celebrate at ringside before a disgust where Strickland blindside him, bringing him into the ring to choke Brody King with a steel chain, but Brody King breaks the chain apart to escape. He sends Swerve Strickland into the corner, setting up for a cannonball. I'm sorry. He grabs the chain, wraps it around his arm before choking out Swerve Strickland with a sleeper until Nada tries to break it up. This distracts Brody King long enough for Swerve Strickland to break free, slamming an arm over the top rope. He and Nada regroup up the ramp as we cut away. Backstage, we hear from Speedball Mike Bailey, who wants to get another crack at Kyle Fletcher without the involvement of the Don Callis family. We head to ringside for our next match. Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin make their entrance. They enter the ring before the dogs make their way out to get this on the way. So we get the trios match. So we get the tag team match. So we get Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy versus Gabe Kidd and David Finlay of the Dogs. And I might as well say, I ain't gonna lie to you, this match right here, this was pretty good for what it was. Pretty good tag team match. Alright, we start off with Gabe Kidd and Cassidy in the ring, but it doesn't take long for things to descend into chaos with all four men going at it and out of the ring. Darby Allin goes after Gabe Kidd as Orange Cassidy fends off Finlay, only for the latter to turn it around. Gabe Kidd fights Darby Allin off with a chop as Orange Cassidy sends Finlay into the ring steps. Darby Allin sends Gabe Kidd into a barricade before sending him into the ring, where Orange Cassidy takes the fight to him before going after Finlay. Before he finally breaks free, roll up for a 2 count, hits the ropes for an counter roll and a near fall, and dives onto Gabe Kidd on the outside before heading back for a 2 on Finlay. The Dogs keep Cassidy from making a tag to Darby Allin before trading Dogs to keep Orange Cassidy off this game. Finlay back in now, but Cassidy fights back to get a tag to Darby Allin. Darby Allin goes after both Dogs before sending Gabe Kidd to the outside. He catches Finlay from the ropes before chinching in a Scorpion Deathlock on Gabe Kidd. Dave tries to break the hold, but Darby Allin doesn't budge at first. When he does breaks the hold, Darby Allin goes after him. Goes after David Finlay for a German suplex before Gabe Kidd stops him, garnering a 2 count in the process. Orange Cassidy tries to intervene, but the dog runs outshot until a Stone Dog Millionaire drop Finlay, and Orange Cassidy sends the Gabe Kidd to the outside, where goes out to Gabe Kidd as Orange Cassidy continues to fight against Finlay. Darby Allin sets Gabe Kidd upon an opening chair before landing a coffin drop from the top turnbuckle, And on the opposite side, we see Orange Cassidy get blindsided by Clark Connors at ringside. Darby Allin brings Gabe Kidd back in the ring, and Connors a sleeper into a pinning combo for 2. Finley intervenes with a Dominator, and Gabe Kidd picks up the win for a package pile driver. The winner of the match, the Dogs. This was a fun tag team match. What it was, Connors comes to the ringside. The Dogs look to continue the beat down. We see Roderick Strong make his way to the ring. The Dogs look to offer Orange Cassidy over him, but Roderick Strong sends Orange Cassidy crashing into the corners instead. This turns things around as Darby Allin goes onto the attack with a skateboard as Roderick Strong hits a backbreaker on Gabe Kidd. The Dogs retreat outside the ring and up the ramp as Roderick Strong gets a briefly 5 to Orange Cassidy to take us to a commercial break. Alright. We head back to ringside for our next match as Purse Stephon makes her entrance, ready to challenge for the TBS Championship. Out next is the champion as Willow Nightingale makes her way out, and this match gets underway. So we get the TBS Championship match. Willow Nightingale defends against Purse Stephon, and I might as well say this was a decent match. What it was, the champ takes control with the headlock early on, taking Purse Stephon into the mat from the phone. The challenger breaks free, but does take long for Willow to regain control with the head scissors. She gets sent to the corner by the challenger and acknowledges the effort with a handshake. Persephone. It says right here. Here we go. Sorry about that. It says right here. It says right here. Hold on. Let me find it. Give me 5 minutes. It says right here. The champ takes control with their headlock early on. Takes Persephone to the mat from the ropes. The challenger breaks free, but it doesn't take long for Willow Nightingale to regain control with the head scissors. She gets into the corner by the challenger and acknowledges the effort with a handshake. Persephone accepts but turns it into a near fall before Willow Nightingale sends her to the corner. Challenger counters with a kick, but Willow Nightingale responds with the cartwheel into an enziguri. She sends the female women's champion into the corner for some clotheslines but that and the Northern Lights suplex are only good for a 2 count. Crossbody gets a near fall as well, and Persephone holds the TBS champion up for a fall away slam as we go to commercial break. Back from the break, we get a back and forth until Persephone sends Simia to the outside only for the champ to bring her to the floor from the apron. They trade strikes until sending each other to the floor with a boot. They shortly get to their feet once more with Willow Nightingale catching the challenger with a cannonball. Santon she brings Persephone back into the ring for a cannonball. Run in the corners, but the challenger gets a hand on the bottom rope to stop the pin attempt. Will Nightingale pulls her away from the corner for a moonsault, but Persephone dodges it and lands a German suplex on the champ, who responds with a German suplex of her own. Persephone catches Will Nightingale with a super kick and a springboard moonsault for a 2 count. We hear that 10 minutes have elapsed. Both women make it to their feet to trade strikes before Will Nightingale takes the challenger down for a near fall. She sends Persephone to the corner, but the challenger responds with a drop kick, sending Will Nightingale to the mat. She heads to the corner, but Will Nightingale intercepts. But the two fight it out. On the turnbuckle showcase, powerbomb is blocked with the champ, but Persephone catches her in a perfect position, only for Will Nightingale to counter out the powerbomb attempt, using the backslide to keep the challenger down for the win. The winner by pinfall and still your TBS champion, Willow Nightingale. This was a decent match. What it was. The champ celebrates as we get a video package hyping up our main event. Looking at how we get tonight's The champ celebrates as we get a video package hyping up our main event. Looking at how we got to tonight's trios match, as Mark Briscoe teams with the Young Bucks to take on FTR and Tommaso Ciampa. Alright, so we go to commercial break. We head backstage where Will Nightingale is fleeing to Rush after retaining her title moments ago. She addresses defending the tag title at AEW Revolution before issuing a challenge to Lena Crossbody to defend the TBS title during 0 hours. Back at ringside, it's time for our main event. Our first are Mark Briscoe and the Young Bucks. FTR makes their entrance. Next, wheeling Stokely down the ramp before Tommaso Ciampa makes his way out to get this match on the way. So we get the main event of the evening. So we get them Bucks, Mark Briscoe, Matt Johnson, and Nick Jackson versus FTR, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, and Tommaso Ciampa. This was a fun main event match. What it was. The bell hasn't even rung yet as all six men go at it with the Young Bucks and FTR. And FTR duking it out ahead of their tag title match at AEW Revolution. Matt Jackson sends Cash Wheeler into the barricade before starting down Stokely, as we see Mark Briscoe setting up a table for the champ. He goes up top but is intercepted by Harwood in the corner, but the bell finally rings to make things official. Mark Briscoe blocks a surprise to send Dax to the mat, but Nick gets the drop on him. Gets a drop on him. Along, Mark Briscoe gets the near fall. Tag made to Matt Jackson now, who gets sent to the corner, but Dax Harwood as Tommaso Ciampa makes their tag. Tommaso Ciampa with some shots before tagging in Wheeler. But things breaks down as both Young Bucks go on the attack. Mark Briscoe runs in as well before shining Wizard, and we get a super kick party taking FTR and Tommaso Ciampa down. Meltzer's driver is blocked as FTR goes for a stuffed power driver, but Mac Jackson counters out and Mark Briscoe drops Wheeler with a cutter. off the turnbuckles. Tommaso Ciampa slides in and trades strikes with Mark Briscoe until both men are taken to the mat with a double count as we go to commercial break. Back from the break, Mark Briscoe and Harwood are trading chops on the outside until Wheeler joins in. The action comes back to the ring and break down into chaos as the Young Bucks intervene. Handed Mark Briscoe a chair for a dive onto all three of their opponents. Dax is brought back into the ring as Nick Jackson hits a Spanish for a near fall, tagging in Matt Jackson as Mark Briscoe takes Hollywood down hard. This only gets another near fall. As the crowd chants "We want tables," but a super kick party is interrupted by Dax Harwood to take Matt Jackson down. Tag to Tommaso Ciampa, who goes in a corner. Wheeler joins him on the opposite side, but I'm running kicks. Kids is dodge allowed the Young Bucks to hit more super kicks. Tommaso Ciampa gets set up for a more bang for your buck. Mark Briscoe. It says Mark Briscoe tags in for a froggy bow, but Dax breaks up the pin. Nick Jackson gets sent through the table on the outside as FTR gains control, leading to Shatter Machine. Tommaso Ciampa with the cover, but Matt Jackson breaks it up. In the nick of time, FTR takes Matt Jackson to the outside, where he tries to fight them off before they land. It's what I said. Matt Jackson to the outside, where he tries to fight them off before they land a stuff pile driver onto the announcer table. Matt Johnson is the tables as it doesn't break, and back in the ring, Tommaso Ciampa hits a knee to the back of the neck to a near fall, and on Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe looks for a J Driller, but is stomped by Cash on the apron, and this allows Ciampa to land another knee on Mark Briscoe for the win. The winner of the match, FTR and Tommaso Ciampa. This was a good main event match. What it was. There is no time for celebration as Tommaso Ciampa continues to beat down on Mark Briscoe, taking some chairs to set up for a psycho driller that drives Mark Briscoe through in chairs. Tommaso Ciampa sits on a chair to celebrate as hard work as we cut to a video package highlighting Hangman Adam Page and MJF ahead of the World Championship match at AEW Revolution. Alright. Hangman Adam Page / MJF press conference. And I ain't gonna lie, this was a solid press conference right here. We had to a conference set up backstage where Bryan Danielson explained the stipulation for a Revolution match. He introduced the challenger and champion as Hangman Page and MJF enters the room. We get questions for each man. MJF talks about being a true professional compared to Page, and the Hangman remarks on what he would do to MJF to win the title back. MJF talks down one of the questions regarding his past loss to Page, but promised to make sure Hangman can't challenge for the title ever again. Page suggested being the Master of Texas deathmatch, saying MJF doesn't stand a snowball chance, and you know what, of winning this one. He also promised this will be a replay of last year's bout against MJF and another win for the Hangman. As he is asked if he doesn't win the title at Revolution, who he is if he is unable to challenge for the title again. This has Page riled up slightly as MJF offers a toast to Page never challenged for the belt again, and Page slaps the drink out of his hand before taking a cup full to the face. This leads to a brawl between the two men, which spills to ringside and eventually to ringside. Security rushes in to break things up, but are fended off by Page, and then the champ puts on his Dynamite diamond ring. He tries to hit Hangman Page with it. He is Page, but it gets turned into a dead eye by the challenger, who leaves the ring to pull out a board, with bar wire on it. He gets ready to send MJF onto it, but the champ gets out of the ring to make a retreat. Hangman Page stares him down from the ring as AEW Dynamite comes to a close. But let me read you guys the quick results. Death Riders John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli defeated the Don Callis family. Kanushka, Takeshita, Hex, and Cyril. TNT Championship match. Kyle Fletcher defeated Mike Bailey. That was the match of the night right there, until the Don Callis family had to ruin it at the end. Brody King defeated a local talent. Squash match. Gabe Kidd and David Finlay of the Dogs defeated Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. Now that was a fun tag team match. The TBS Championship match. Will Nightingale defeated Persephone. Decent match. FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler and Tommaso Ciampa defeated them Bucks. Mark Briscoe, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson. That main event was fun for what it was. It was a good main event match for what it was, and AEW Dynamite goes up there. Alright, let me give my opinion what I think about AEW Dynamite. Now, AEW Dynamite was a good show for what it was, and I give this show a 7 out of 10. If you guys made it this far to my AEW Dynamite review on highlights from the beginning all the way towards the end, make sure you guys give this video 30 likes. I'm really pushing towards 11K before the end of April. Make sure you guys follow all my social media down below in the description. Go check out my WWE NXT review on highlights. Go check out my WWE Raw review on highlights. And go check out my NXT Ventures Day review on highlights. I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Keep your crew, keep your kings, keep your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang. And I'll see you guys tomorrow live on Twitch for some more Kombat. Live on Twitch. That's all I gotta say. But anyway, I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you guys continue to watch this video. Continue to keep watching my YouTube videos for some watch time hours. And that's all I gotta say. But I'll see you guys tonight for my upcoming world premiere for my AEW Dynamite review on highs at around 5 o'clock a.m. right here on my YouTube channel. Have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Keep your crew, keep your kings, keep your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang.